location, or are you actually in the Northgate Village Apartments now?
Well, I can tell you it's been a very, very dangerous and extremely fast pursuit. They've been chasing that van right there. Now,
It's exactly what he's doing. Hi. Are you Googling the laws right now?
Henderson Police Department SWAT team responded to the scene and set up a perimeter around the condominium.
I travel in and out of time zones.
And the 3 key rules for a criminal defense lawyer: always on time, impeccably dressed, and occasionally sober.
The yellow sports car up ahead won't stop. Then something happens you might expect in a Spider-Man movie. It wraps around the tire of the fleeing vehicle and stops all forward motion.
Objection, action answered.
I mean, he leaps over the fucking bench.
No, the thing is, that's my property. You have no choice.
Actually, I do, because I found friggin' Xanax bars on your driver's seat. If you want to explain something, explain those.
Cops get very frustrated when you don't answer their questions.
No.
Step back forward.
He's gonna go straight. There's a car right here. Got him.
All right, I'm going to excuse everyone. Mr. Brooks is being removed from the courtroom.
This is fucking hilarious. So he pulls out a joint in court.
Go, 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 go.
Turn on your stomach! Stop fighting us! Stop resisting!
The injury by the police, that may be a separate issue for you to file a civil suit.
Chris, just while he's doing that, talk to me. What were you running for again?
Warrant.
Warrants? A felony warrant? City warrants what?
Felony warrant on Kansas.
Well, I'm pretty sure they brand you, and you don't have any warrants.
I don't.
No.
No warrants.
No. So all that for nothing, right? No warrants, no nothing.
Yeah.
Police! A little farther, bro. A little more. Okay, go.
Not finna sit here and let you fix the trial because you don't want to tell the truth to the jury.
We're there, guys. Got eyes on.
I want to suck it. Yes, I think I would like to suck your dick. I don't think so.
I prefer not to.
I prefer not to, sir. See, that I love that.
So do you wish to say anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Well, hello. I'm so sorry I'm late. I've got wet hair, everything. I've been running around like a mad woman, and I'm here with some absolutely devastating news, at least for Tyrone Tucker. So if any of you, anyway, welcome to the Defence Arrests. I'm Jodie. Excuse me for being hot and flustered. All right, so I don't know if anyone's been watching the Treehouse murder case, which went to trial in January of this year after 6 years. And Franklin Tyrone Tucker was the pro se defendant in that case, or is the pro se defendant in that case. And that case was a hung jury. So it is set for retrial this coming September. If you've watched my channel, you've seen that I'm covering that. But in the last few days, there's been quite a few updates on the situation. Now, the state had submitted a motion for this gag order again. Let me go back to the start, just in case you haven't heard of the Treehouse murders or Tyrone Tucker. Basically, there was a treehouse that was a somewhat livable dwelling above a trailer owned by Matthew Bonnet, who was the landlord. And the lady that lived in that treehouse was Paula Belmont. Paula Belmont was friends with Tyrone Tucker. And the establishment was apparently known in the Florida Keys area as a place of ill repute and access to illicit substances. And there's all sorts of conspiracy theories on what went down that night, but basically 2 masked assailants went to the treehouse and attempted to rob Paula and the friend Roger Ragu, who was there at the time, thinking they had drug money on hand. Now, the 2 suspects that were arrested were Detroit, or Rory Wilson, also known as Detroit, and John Travis Johnson. Now, both of those men have had their hearings. Rory Wilson was convicted to life, and John Travis Johnson took a plea deal with the state and turned state evidence against Ty in the January trial. Now, the only reason that Tyrone came into the scene was because he was down in the Florida Keys. It was just after a huge hurricane, and he was down there working as part of the cleanup crew to clean up, all the devastation that had occurred. And he was staying in a makeshift shelter, which was like a homeless shelter at the time. He wasn't homeless, but there was nowhere to stay and there was so much damage around. That's where he was staying. And it just so happened to be the same place that John Travis Johnson was staying. And they did know each other. I'm not sure to what extent that they were affiliated, but they do know each other. So the 2 masked men, when they robbed Paula in the treehouse, one of them held a knife to her throat, and she ended up having a 7-centimetre slit on one side of her neck. And poor Roger had a few bumps and bruises and was punched around a bit. Sorry, I'm jumping around everywhere because I'm flying off the seat of my pants. This is an impromptu live stream, which really needed to be said and got out today, because people need to be aware of what's going on, and we need to spread the word for Tyrone's sake. Anyway, so these 2 assailants go in, they rob them, and on the way out, because Paula was screaming so much, the landlord, Matthew Bonnet, came up the stairs to see what was going on, encountered one of the suspects who stabbed him 5 times, and he was unalived. So that's why it's called the Treehouse Murder Case. So the following day, Travis was walking with Tyrone down, I think, to get their mobile phone prepaids recharged or something, and the police had observed Tyrone walking with Travis, and so he became a person of interest. And the investigator, well, it's a complete blunder of an investigation all the way through, but one of the investigators got onto his Facebook site and saw a picture of him dressed in a Halloween costume, because this is back in November 2017, where he was dressed up and he was holding a fake knife in the picture. And in their wisdom, they went, oh, he looks like he could have been the murderer, the unaliver, and basically arrested him and detained him for questioning. And from that point on, the snowball effect of inadequacy and corruption and mistakes and laziness and you name it, is it's you couldn't write it. You couldn't even make it up. It's just bizarre. And I will give you all the links and all the places to find out more information if you want to do a bit more of a deep dive. But I have sent out a couple of pertinent invites to tonight's live stream, and I'm hoping, I can't promise anything, I can't cross my fingers because of my arthritis, but I'm hoping that we might have, I'm not going to tell you who, but we may have a guest on at some stage during this live stream who will be able to give us more information. So, getting back to it. So the case went to trial in January, hung jury. Ty represented himself as a pro se defendant, and so they're in the proceedings of pretrial motions and status hearings, getting ready for the second trial based on BS in September. Now, a couple of days ago, actually, I'll bring this up first so that we can read it, and that will explain. Oh, before I do that, so in the meantime, the judge that tried the first case, the trial judge, Judge Jones, I think it was, yes, recused himself and removed himself from adjudicating the second trial. So the second judge, Judge Morgan, was allocated, and it's taken him, until only a couple of weeks ago at the last status hearing where he actually accepted the opportunity to take over the case and represent and adjudicate, basically, the Tyrone's case. And everybody had, well, not everybody, but a lot of people had high hopes because there was quite a lot of bias, I think, and unfairness towards Tyrone during the trial, and fresh eyes, fresh ears can never hurt. So the new judge agreed to take over the case, and we're thinking, okay, that's great. It's a different perspective. Only to find out that he's pretty much the protege of the original judge, Judge Jones, and Judge Jones has been his mentor. In fact, he was the one that actually swore him in, nominated him and swore him into the judicial seat. So I don't think the apple has fallen far from the tree where that goes, unfortunately. So he does have a military background. I'm in the process of doing a little bit of a deep dive into his past, and I am actually in contact with Stephen from Justice is a Process, who is an encyclopedia of knowledge on this case, an absolute encyclopedia. I will put up, it's called Justice is a Process on YouTube. Please go over there and like it, share it. He has so many videos on the case and on the updates, and he's very educated and knowledgeable in the law. His father was a highly accredited defense attorney, and he has lived, oh, there goes my washing machine. He has lived with dealing with the law all of his life. So he's extremely knowledgeable, and he is right up there with all of the details. Any questions you want to know, that's the place to go. Okay, so the last couple of days, on, I think it was Friday, Ty had a routine. He's been out for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years on pretrial release with, the ankle bracelet. So he. Oh, hello, Miss Schmooby Cakes. I'm back. Welcome, welcome. Yes, you're just up to the good bit. It's not good, but yeah. Hold on, I'm getting there. All right. So on Friday, Tyrone's on obviously house arrest. He's got the ankle bracelet on. He went down to his parole office to do his routine UNA. And it was later on in the afternoon. They were having some technical difficulties with their computer. So he was told to come back the following morning to submit his sample and to do it earlier in the day so that they could process it. So he rang his parole officer, notified them of what was going on, went home, went back the next morning, produced the sample, passed the sample, only to be told that he had violated his parole conditions and that the judge had issued an arrest warrant for him. So let's get onto the Facebook page of Ty. So we'll go through this together. So this is from directly Franklin Tyrone Tucker's Facebook page. You can go on there. I've got all the links coming up for you where you can contact or show your support or whatever we can do to spread the word to get him out. But so this is Ty. To all, I guess I was wrong about the judge since he just issued a warrant for my arrest for supposedly missing a UA that I did not miss. I went and was told I couldn't take the test. Pre-trial even checked with the facility to find out the issue, and then I took the test, but now I get a warrant while in compliance, ? To make it even better, he wants $3.1 million bond. $3.1 million for a UNA. And it wasn't failed and it wasn't missed. Even if this is a mistake, it doesn't matter because I'm sick to death of being treated like a criminal and having to worry about going back to jail whenever I fart and cough. But these asshats with no evidence lie to the jury blatantly on national TV, and yet still months later it is yet to be addressed. Maybe if they hadn't lied, I wouldn't still be on pre-trial release, which I should have never been on in the first place, but this move is absolutely ridiculous. Right now, I'm not sure how I want to handle this because it's obviously that this guy is going to be just as bad as the last, and I refuse to be railroaded into a crime I did not commit by a bunch of corrupt bastards who wipe their ass with the Constitution. So I guess this is a reality check on getting any kind of fair trial in Monroe County. Furious is not the word for what I'm right now, and it looks like my only hope is if enough of you file a complaint with the Department of Justice, who have already accepted my complaint but seem to be sitting on the behinds and letting this go down. So here's the link to the file complaint number, and my report number is there. I've got that linked further on, so it's okay. You don't have to jot it. You can jot it down now, but you don't have to panic and look for a pen right this second. Please tell them what you've seen and what is happening, and thank you all for supporting me in this fight. So that was, I think it was Friday's post on Facebook. Oh, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. And I think it's all to do with this gag order as well, because the state has put this gag order, or the motion for a gag order, back in place to reinstate it from the first trial. And I think the likelihood of that going through wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be. And this way they shut him up because he can't get on YouTube, he can't get on Facebook, he can't talk, he can't do anything. So it's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. And 3.1 million bond, what does that tell you? You're just having your breakfast. I've just literally shoved down some food. It's lucky I haven't got indigestion because I nearly gagged on it trying to get it in as fast as I could, and my hair's still wet. Anyway, so let's progress to the next day. So, guys, still not in jail, but I will be very soon. Sorry, guys, but apparently it has to be this way. So my plan is to face it like I do almost everything in my life, head on. I honestly don't know how this is going to go, and no, I'm not happy at all with the way the judge has handled this situation. And unfortunately, my feeling is this was planned because I didn't fail to comply. That's why there is no record of a violation. The problem is, if it's a plan, then what's the plan? Whatever it can't be good. But even though I know it's most likely a trap, even if it is, and while I have a bad feeling about it, I'd rather walk in like a man than be dragged in like a dog. I spent part of my night talking with Steve from Justice is a Process, so check it out if you want some more of my thoughts. But yes, guys, it's going down. So that is if you go on to Justice is a Process, onto his YouTube channel, this is it's an overview of everything that's happened since the arrest warrant, basically. And it is definitely worth a watch because it just goes into so much detail, and I didn't have enough time to put a great deal together, unfortunately. So then I've actually been talking to Steve via email, and we're collaborating to do a combined live stream together at some stage. But this all sort of happened, and it's Sunday, of course. So I did send him the link to come and join us if he has the time or if he gets it, and hopefully he does. But at some point in the next short period, hopefully we will be bringing you a collaborated live stream together, which will be fantastic because we need to get the word out there. He's blowing the lid of corruption. So yeah. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be quite dangerous for him in there. He's well, you'll find out where he is at the moment. Hang on. So today's update, and it's not Ty who's writing this. He has a support team, or I think a YouTube team that manage his social media as well with him. Hi everyone, update. Ty was at the airport in Portland, Oregon, which is where he lives now, on his way to Key West to self-surrender due to the arrest warrant issued by Judge Morgan in Monroe County, Florida, when he was arrested by local police. Lauren, which is his wife, received a call from Ty from an unknown number, but the call was cancelled before he said much. He's being held at Multnomah County, sorry, I balls that up, no doubt, but Multnomah County Detention Center in Portland. We do not know how long he will be there. It looks as though they do offer online visitation, so hopefully Lauren gets to at least speak to him. Ty's been under pretrial supervision for 4 years. His alleged non-compliance, from which the arrest warrant was issued, was over appointments he showed up for but was not able to be completed by the facility. It should be noted that pretrial services praised Ty on his compliance over 4 years up until Ty's trial. Post-mistrial, Ty has been threatened repeatedly with violations over normal human error mistakes and nothing criminal. And don't remember, he's been on pretrial release for, as it says, 4 years and over with no issues whatsoever, nothing. Ty is an innocent man being persecuted for being vocal about his innocence, demanding his prosecutors be held accountable, winning as a pro se defendant and not for taking a plea deal. We should all fear our freedom being trampled on. This can happen to anyone. Oh, I'll go back again. So these are the 4 main contact details that I have that I could whip up in the short amount of time that I had. So email address, YouTube link, his Facebook page number, and Instagram. And if you go onto his Facebook page today, there is some comments from Lauren as well, who has tried to contact him. Hang on, let me see if I can get on there now. Let me go back. History. See if I can read them. No, it was the wrong. There we go. So whilst I'm looking for that, there is absolutely no evidence to tie to the case. There's no DNA. There's no witnesses. In fact, the main witness, Paula Belmont, who's unfortunately passed away in February, actually testified at his last trial and has 3 depositions in support of Ty that it wasn't him. They have a witness, Todd O'Quinn, who was incarcerated at the time of the last trial, and the judge refused to issue a transport docket or something, so he couldn't testify at the hearing because he picked out John Travis Johnson in a photo lineup, and yeah, basically he's a pivotal witness in this case, and the judge refused to hear him. So he apparently he's on the list for the next trial. So hopefully that goes through. Now let me see where I saw this. Oh, you're an idiot, Jody. I've closed it down. Hang on. I shall get onto the phone instead. Facebook. All right, so after today's update, there's 19 comments on there. Let's have a look. All comments. All right, so Lauren, his wife, has written, I'm going to try to see him at the jail today. Oh, I should probably take that down. Hello again. Reading off my phone. I'm going to try to see him at the jail today. I doubt I'll be able to because he doesn't have a visitor list yet. As you all can imagine, I'm spinning in circles, not knowing what to do. Feel free to contact me about any potential lawyers who may want to help. Thank you all for your support of Ty. And yeah, there's quite a few comments in support of him. It is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But as I said, I've been speaking to Stephen from Justice is a Process, and I was going through some of his. Well, I've been watching his videos all weekend, just to try and, because there's so many aspects to the case. There's so many just different avenues, and it's just so complex that I'm trying to piece it all together. Like, I'll know the names, but I've got to try and fit the puzzle of how they fit. There is corruption. There is jailhouse snitches and informants. There is, evidence tampering, witness manipulation. There's, minutes missing between videotapes of John Travis Johnson's interview at the police station. There's that's something you need to watch. It's on. I'll let I'll let Stephen explain it. He explains it way better than me. And yes, this is the time that I think he really does need to have someone on the outside doing what they need to do, because they're scared now. They're scared because they didn't win the last case, and with all of the exposure that he's getting in social media and their lack of a gag order, so to speak, at this point in time, they don't want to take any chances, and they don't want to be caught out in all the underhanded stuff that they've been doing. So they're going to pull out all the stops, basically, to shut him up and to keep it from getting out. There is no evidence, absolutely nothing that ties him to this case. Nothing. And a good defense attorney, cat hair on my mic, he needs that support now. He needs that. And apparently, I think, going back a bit, Kurt from Uncivil Law did actually offer to represent him, because he's a criminal defense attorney, and he offered to do it for cost of expenses, basically. So I don't know whether or not they've reached out to him, but when Ty was speaking with Stephen the other night on his live stream, the cost is ridiculous. But as Stephen said, if a defense attorney can't see the potential for exposure for their own benefit, at least, without adding the monetary value to it, just purely, I'm the one that got Tyrone Tucker, free from jail, surely that is an incentive for someone to step up and help. It's just ridiculous. So I put together this little video that explains a little bit more, and it's Stephen from, as I said, Justice is a Process. He's amazing, and I have his full permission to use his material. So I'm going to play this for you. It's about 6 minutes, and it just explains how important and how this impacts Ty and the repercussions that this could have. So I'll pop that on now for you to all watch. Let me know in the chat if you can't hear it properly.
I really, truly believe he's not guilty. When you look back at this case and you watch everything, and you've got to watch everything. I'm talking about watching the raw footage. And again, if you go to freefranklintucker.com and you watch the raw footage without any commentary, without any opinions, and you just go start watching, there's 66 videos over there. And you get to the end of this, you're going to see that, listen, he's guilty of one thing. He's guilty of cohabitating with people that were not obviously good people, right? We wouldn't say good people, but they were people that were going to get people in trouble. The second, Rory has told him, we're just going in, we're going to make a grab. We're going to grab the drugs, we're going to grab the money. It'll be a quick in and out. And he goes in, and this thing just obviously breaks bad. He goes in, tells Roger Ruggett, be quiet. Next thing you know, he's struggling with Roger Ruggett. He sees Rory over there. It goes bad. Rory's slicing the neck of Paula, and Travis flees. He doesn't want to go away for life. He thinks he's going to go away for life. Well, why would he think he's going away for life? Not, especially if prosecutor, according to Prosecutor Mansfield, Mr. Johnson didn't even understand that, hey, because I was present as a getaway driver because I'm sitting out front, I'm not guilty of anything. I drove off. Remember, at that moment when he's sitting in the interrogation room, he believes he pulled up, things go wrong, and he pulls off. So Mr. Johnson says, I didn't understand that. I don't understand the law. I thought I was completely innocent. No. When you watch that interrogation video, it's somebody who is freaking out because they believe they're going to go to prison. And as a result, he's freaking out. He's telling the investigators, I want to go home. I'm scared. And that's when Captain Phelps comes in and feeds him his lifeline. And you see it. If you watch that closely, you can see the entire process as he's sitting there realizing, he's sitting there. And it's like he's realizing. And she frames it to him. Listen, you're facing life. You're facing life. So here's the deal. You tell us what we want, and you get to go home. You're going to get the deal. Or continue telling us that Tucker's not involved. It's Tucker's life or your life. There was a trade made that day. Whether there's success, Phelps had already gone down a path where she believed Mr. Tucker was involved, only to find out that, guess what? The evidence didn't prove that. So what I'm about to say right now, many are going to say, "Oh my God, I can say." But what many people are not understanding yet, and it will become clear. And when it becomes clear that this is what happened, because Mr. Tucker's been going through this for 6 years, what Mr. Tucker did, and if he ends up convicted and in prison, or he ends up acquitted, what you don't understand is this guy that everyone laughed at. He's a hero for the people. Okay, and he will, when the story gets written, I believe he will be written as this is a guy who stood up. And what he did here, while others are laughing at him and saying, yeah, he used drugs and he was down here, but what he did here, the magnitude of what he did, many will not understand unless you go in. And again, I only understand. I mean, I have, reviewed a lot of stuff, and I have an understanding of things about the justice system and stuff from personal experience. From my dad was a well-renowned defense attorney, and I was able to, have an appreciation to be able to look at things and see this case. And I said, oh my God, when I start reading into this. But what he did here, the magnitude of what he did here, that everyone is losing, is yes, he could have had a slick attorney come in and get an acquittal for him. Absolutely, without a doubt. If an attorney tried this case, he's found not guilty. But he knew that if he did that, he would simply be serving himself. And the story would never be told. And it would never be paid attention to. But he showed up in court. He fired his attorney. He attempted to have an advisor there, and the judge said no. And he still showed up anyways. He was given a 2-year sentence or an opportunity to walk away with 2 years of probation. He said no. And he walked in that courtroom, and a guilty man who is guilty would never have walked in that courtroom under those circumstances. A guilty man takes a plea. That's Travis Johnson. A not guilty guy who knows that he's become victim of the system down there, because unfortunately this isn't an uncommon thing with how they've acted in this case, certain elements and certain things that were done. He knew the only way attention would ever be brought to this was if he walked in and got everybody's attention. And he has done so at the ultimate price, the price of his life. So as crazy as it sounds, and you can call me crazy, I don't care. I mean, you look, I have no affiliation. And I only say that because I want to understand. I'm speaking this not from any, I ain't being paid by nobody. I'm not being, I have no interest in this case other than justice and other than getting out what I've learned. This is me 2 weeks looking into this case. But at great personal cost, he has gone in. He's put his life on the line to do this because he feels it's important, because, as Mr. Tucker has said, he doesn't want this to happen to anyone else. And
so, yeah, that just happened. And when you think about it, the magnitude is huge. If, as you said, if he had have gotten a slick attorney, he could have gotten off. But this has happened to so many people down there. And if you go on to Steve's YouTube channel, in that, let's bring it back up again. So in this link here, where he does an overview of what had happened with the arrest warrant being issued and what had happened, he goes back and explains in detail what actually happened, and he goes into the Florida News, I think it is. It was an article that was written, and it brings up a multitude of people that have unalived themselves in Florida Keys, in that county, and for unknown reasons. It is just astounding. Oh, he does. He absolutely does. And I don't know how he's going to do it inside. So any help that he can get, send it through. So the only reason he went pro se was because he knew that would grab the attention of the people. If he just got a lawyer to do it, it would just be another trial, another case, gone. But because of the precedents before him of this alleged corruption and poor investigations and a whole list of other issues with the judicial system down there, he didn't want it to happen to anybody else. And as Stephen said, the story needs to be told. And yeah, I'm happy to be part of telling that story, and I will keep everyone updated as I find out any more information. But it just goes to show you 3.1 million. So he got a hung jury in his trial in January, which should lessen the risk, basically, and lessen the alleged guilt, if that makes sense. It puts reasonable doubt into everybody's mind. So I don't understand why they would set the bail so high, especially when his first bail wasn't even that high. And thankfully, Lauren was able to come up with that, and he was allowed to be on pretrial release and house arrest instead of in custody. But he did spend 2 years in jail initially because he refused to take a plea deal. He knows he's innocent and he refuses to. Why would he take a plea deal? And I have to give it to him. He's a very brave man, very brave man. And as far as pro se defendants go, he did do a great job, and he has learnt along the way, and he's learnt more skills. If you go to his YouTube channel, he does a weekly update, so he has learnt a lot more skills to help him through. He did have initially some advisors that he could, like attorneys on hand, that he could ask advice, but the judge, I think, refused to let him use them or something like that, and then complained the whole trial that he didn't know the procedure or the policy or the process of how to do things. He was very impatient with him. He, belittled him and yelled at him outside the presence of the jury, and he just got battered by like a battering ram. And yeah, it's just awful, awful. So he wasn't married at the time when he was arrested, and Lauren apparently was a childhood sweetheart of his. And she heard of what was going on. And Lauren Janae is the founder of CrossFit. So she got in contact with him. She read his story and she believed his innocence. And so she put up the bond for him, and their reconnection basically blossomed, and they end up getting married despite all the odds on one of the detectives trying to squash that ability. So they got married, I think, while he was incarcerated still. Unfortunately, they are estranged now. They are still in contact, but obviously the trial and the distance and his limitations on being able to travel and the pressure of everything, it's got to have an effect on anyone's relationship. And whilst I'm sure they still absolutely care about one another, he always has good things to say about her. They don't think there's any animosity there. The stress has just gotten to them, I think. So she is absolutely beside herself, obviously, as you would be, not knowing what's going on and the dangers that he faces in there, especially with the corruption from a high level down. Internal Affairs was even involved in this, in the investigating the investigation, because it was that poorly handled. The lead investigator, what was her name? Penny Phelps. I think she lost her job for 12 months over it. She got suspended from the bar. Another investigator got demoted. Chains of evidence. Just even the getaway car, the apparent alleged getaway car. This truck that Ty was supposed to have been the getaway driver. You would think, as part of, the evidence handling and processing, that would have been towed straight away to one of the police impounds and sealed so that it protected any potential evidence within it. But no, it was left open and abandoned for weeks. Anyone could have opened it, touched it, messed with it. Just the incompetency. And of course, they never found anything, not any DNA, nothing of Ty's there, nothing. And I wonder if I can find the photo. I might have to do that for the next one because I've got too many tabs open at the moment. But, it's a massive, massive cover your own ass, yes. Massive. Because the lead investigator, Phelps. Penny Phelps. Okay. Yeah, she had it out for Ty from the start. And if you watch the actual interview where she interviews John Travis Johnson, you see this man who is like a deer in the headlamps. Like, he's just like, I don't know what's going on. And she she coerces him and feeds him this information for her own agenda. And you can see him actually just, what is she telling me? He's like, I'm petrified. I'm scared. I just want to go home. And she's saying, well, yes, you can go home if you tell us what we want to hear. And then, amazingly, 3 minutes of the video recording disappears. And the next time it turns on, he is saying, oh, yes, that's right. It was Tyrone that did it. And takes a plea deal, 5 years for the time served, and testified against Ty at the first trial. So that's the only witness that they have. Oh, they apparently planted a jailhouse snitch. Liam, I think his name was. I've got family tree here somewhere. What's his name? Liam Jackson. And they planted this guy in, allegedly planted this guy in Ty's jail cell whilst he was incarcerated for the 2 years. And they had an issue because the autopsy on the victim, Matthew Bonnet, showed that the stab wounds were done by someone who was left-handed. So they were done from the left side in an upward motion. And Ty is right-handed. So they had an obstacle to get past. So apparently this jail snitch, whilst he was in the cell, felt the need to come forward and testify or make a statement that Ty had confessed everything to him, and that in the throes of, being disturbed in a high adrenaline robbery, he had the forethought to swap the hands that he had the knife in to his left hand so that he could frame Rory Wilson later on down the track. That's the state's argument. That's what they've got. So it's crazy. Anyway, so I do encourage you to go and see Justice is a Process, because he has so much information, and he's a non-monetized channel. YouTube, he explains that, but YouTube decided 6 months ago to demonetize him. So I'll show you a couple of ways that you can support his channel. So he has a Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee app, and the coffee.com app. So the links there are on the screen. And he was explaining that, whilst it was a bummer that YouTube demonetized him, he'd actually set up the channel with his father, and it was to help. His father was a renowned criminal defense attorney, and he did a lot of helping pro se defendants as well towards the end of his career. And Stephen had the opportunity to observe and learn from all of this, and he did a bit of pro bono work as well. So towards the end of his career, he would often say, don't worry about it, just buy me a coffee. And so when Stephen saw that this was an avenue where he could actually get some monetary support to his channel by Buy Me a Coffee, he basically said to himself, that's Dad telling me from above, because his dad passed away only recently, unfortunately, which is very sad. And it was a project that they were working on together, the channel, to to get people's stories told, and yeah. So it's a bit of a bummer of a Sunday evening here in Melbourne. Let me just check that no one has gotten back to me with regards to their invitations to come on to the live stream. I didn't have much time to give them much notice, and it is Sunday, so I don't think Stephen's live streaming today. He's probably having a well-earned day off. No answers back from them. Oh, but I bought something on Marketplace, so there's a bonus. Now, whilst I was doing that and looking up Justice as a Process and their funding, my channel is not monetized either because I'm only just a fresh newbie, as you can tell. So I thought, why not? I'll just set up a buy me a coffee app as well. So I'll pop it up on screen, and if you would like to support the channel, you're more than welcome to by buying me a coffee, because God knows I love coffee. And that's the only reason that I'm still awake right now. I've got a thermos full of coffee and I'm good to go. So you can either go on to the link there or you can scan the QR code, and your support would be greatly appreciated. So I don't think there is... Oh, hang on, we've got another comment. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Amen to that, sister. So what I'll do, I will put up that link to Ty's details one more time. So feel free to contact him if you're able to help in any way. And I will put now this is Ty's actual personal report number with the Department of Justice. And so if anyone wants to make a complaint, they need to reference that number directly, because there is, what is it? Success in numbers, or I can't think of the word. I am so not prepared for tonight's broad stream. Broad stream. I called it a broad stream. It's a cross between a broadcast and a live stream. That's how. Anyway, so it's been lovely being back on. I'm back again. I was away for 10 days. I went to Queensland to see my mum, who is doing a lot better. She's still not great, but she's doing a lot better. And we have a lot more support services in place now to take a bit of the pressure off. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all going well. And you are just so lovely. So lovely. I did have a laugh because I sat down this afternoon on my bed. I was playing with, I don't know where, normally he's here, Mr. Spoilt Feline, and sitting there playing with him on the bed, and I turned on my telly and it automatically comes up to YouTube on my channel, and it said, one person waiting. I bet that's clear. So I did have a giggle. And for some reason, I don't know why, but my computer keeps changing the time zone on me. So I had to keep changing the the scheduling of the time for the live stream. It was ridiculous. It was telling me that it was like 2:00 in the morning when it was 4:00 in the afternoon. So, and it's a brand new computer, so I don't know what's going on there. So I hope you had a lovely, I'm sure you probably had another roast lunch today or about to. I've just scoffed a bowl of pasta, and I might even have a cuppa and a bicky. Cup of tea. All right. Well, I shall keep you all updated. Spread the word, spread the love, and hopefully I'll have a lot more information in detail, and hopefully Stephen will be able to join me for the next one. If he can't join me, I might jump on with him, and I certainly before then need to get my regrowth done. Definitely. That's terrible, Jody. Absolutely shocking. Can't be seen like that. All right, Dylan. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for being here. And until next time, hang on, let me get the I've got to get the outro set up. Oh, hang on. Let me just put this up first. You, sir, shall have that sunshine on your face again as soon as we can make it happen. All right, Ty. Thinking of you. You have support around the world, and stay strong. All right. Now, where's my outro? Outro. I'll be